So when the original came out, it was fated with some reviews that said it was up there with Toy Story, which it wasn't, but it was a terrifically sort of enjoyable romp. Had this sort of smartly nostalgic idea, old-fashioned arcade game, Fix It Felix. And the villain of the game decides that after 30 years on the job, there must be more to life than breaking things. So he escapes from his old world and he goes into, other games. He's in this first-person shooter thing, and then he goes into the candy speed racer thing. And he meets Vanellope, played by Sarah Silverman, who's got a glitch, and he has to help her win a medal. And it was an interesting film because, it had nods to Tron and Last Starfighter, and actually to some extent, Monsters Inc. But the relationship kind of worked, and the action sequences were fun, and it was actually rather good. So now, Ralph breaks the internet. So the story is that the arcade has been connected to the Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi, because they've never heard of Wi-Fi before. And Vanellope's game, which has got a steering wheel, when you sit and play it in the arcade, the steering wheel gets broken by somebody who's over-enthusiastically attempting to break the steering wheel. So consequently, the game is going to be turned off because the game's broken. It turns out to get a new steering wheel is going to cost more than the game is worth. So Ralph decides that in order to save the day, what he has to do is to go into Wi-Fi as he refers to it, find eBoy, because he's heard that on eBoy it is possible to buy one of these steering wheels. And so the two characters go off into the internet. And when they're in the internet, they go to eBay and they get involved in bidding for a steering wheel. But then what they haven't figured out is that the steering wheel will have to be paid for. And in order to pay for it, they try out a whole bunch of schemes, which are sort of internet-related schemes, including making stupid videos that loads of people like, or as they refer to in the internet world, get hearts for. Here's a clip.
This is the leaf blower guy?
Who?
The man with the undulating jowls.
So?
His video has 1.3 million watts.
Well, why didn't you tell me I was in the presence of a genius? Grab him a drink.
Yeah, this lady named Shank, she actually made the video. She's the one who told us to come see you.
No wonder your video's so dope. Shank is for real cool.
Right?
She is not. I'm the cool one getting all the hearts.
Well, that's right, you big baby. What'd you say your name was?
Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, Wreck-It Ralph, you are trending, and these are for you. Heart. Heart, 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 yes, heart.
He ends up barking like a dog. So, on the one hand, there's quite a lot of fairly straightforward but fairly well played out jokes about the internet being a series of different places. There's IMDb and there's Amazon and there's eBoy. Although I have to say, when I came out of it, Van Connor, who's a fellow film critic, pointed out almost immediately that it shares many of its ideas and riffs with the Emoji Movie, which actually immediately sort of, when you watch something, you think I kind of enjoyed that, and then somebody says something, you go, oh, yeah, okay, fine. There are a couple of sequences that I like very much. There's one sequence in which Vanellope finds herself in a room full of Disney princesses who are all trying to figure out what kind of Disney princess she is. And she says, what they're saying, were you stuck in a castle? You've got all these problems and these problems? We was tied up by a monster. And she says, do you want me to call the police? There's another sequence that made me laugh very much when Ralph wanders into an area which is the comments section and suddenly becomes crushingly depressed. And there is a whole thing about, yes, never read the comments.
Something I've told you many times.
Something I know, yes, never go below the line. And there are some smart gags about pop-up ads, about when you wander around the internet, pop-up ads that get knocked out of place by ad blocker security guards. And there's a visit to the dark net and all that sort of stuff. Most encouragingly, Vanellope finds herself in this, what looks like a kind of fantastically violent race game. Remember there was a line in the first one in which Ralph suddenly says, when did video games become so violent and scary? Well, in this one, they go into a violent, scary game in which our heroine discovers that... Oh, sorry, do you want me to stop? So you put your hand...
No, you carry on.
In which our heroine discovers that, actually, she really likes being in this world, and she finds a sort of heroine figure voiced by Gal Gadot, and so that she kind of discovers her own. And as with so many of these stories, it's about discovering your own identity, discovering who you are, being able to define your own personality in your own environment. So if you compare it to something like Inside Out, which is, walking the corridors of the mind, which I think is kind of like the perfect version of this sort of story, it's not that. I mean, you remember the Numbskulls, which is the old sort of, and it, like Inside Out was like the platonic ideal of what the Numbskulls might be like. Well, this isn't that, and it's not in that territory, but it was kind of cute and enjoyable, and there were smart gags in it about the visualization of the idea of the internet. I mean, occasionally it just seemed like an absolute forest of logos and of sort of familiar name checks, but it does have more than that, because it does have a sort of central story about what friendship means and what defining your own self means. And I thought it was kind of fun. I'm not sure that it's going to change the world, but I thought it was entertaining, and there were enough smart jokes in it about the internet to just about paste over the cracks, and the fact that you have seen a lot of this done before, and the story itself isn't massively original, but it's nicely played out.